Well, Jono, this project you're working on, it's a long time coming. It's already, seeing what you've done so far, but give me a little bit of background of this project. How long have you been thinking about this, and what prompted the idea? Just start us at the beginning of what this project is.
Sure. Hello, Andy and Dave at Bethel Park TV. Honored to be here. A friend of mine coined this as my opus. I've been thinking about the old Carnegie Homestead Mill, maybe about 10 years.
Okay.
I've done some mill paintings, the Southside Mill and Steel Mill. So there isn't, I love, the mills are part of my family history and part of Pittsburgh and America. So, okay, never did the Homestead Mill. And to me, that would be, if you had to pick one mill from Pittsburgh, in my view, it would have been the iconic Homestead Mill. And I thought about this. My grandfather, who was named Yonko Praschek, I'm the Americanized version's Jono, so there's a lineage. I never met him. He was an immigrant from Slovakia, and he was so happy to work in the mills back in the day. Then when they went to the 40-hour work week, my dad mentioned years ago, he thought he died and went to heaven because it was 40 hours a week and weekends off or whatever it was. And he just was a hard worker and a good man. I never had a chance to meet him. And he was a Boilermaker, and he worked in the mill up till 1950. He collapsed, and a week later he died at his home in Munhall. So very bittersweet and sad, but that's the history. So I've heard the great stories from my dad, who's gone too. So I'm carrying this on. So I'm thinking, okay, this is really directly to my roots. I was born in Munhall, but I grew up in Dormont, and not Bethel Park, but I love Bethel Park. And I thought, you know what, I have to do this. I've been thinking about painting this. So I contacted the Rivers to Steel Foundation over there, and through the archivist, Ron Barrow, for all the wonderful staff. I asked them, they knew of my work, and I've helped them out with some art. I said, has anybody here painted the entire Homestead Mill? Maybe little bits and pieces as far as professional painters, maybe chunks of it. I said, the whole entire mill. And they said no. There was a couple folk art painters, but they were steel mill workers, not the entire mill. And they said, what are you thinking, Jono? I said, I want to paint the whole mill. They said, you want before World War II or after? I said, I don't know. Let me start researching. So I went through their archives, and I open-minded, and I come across this awesome 1926 circa photo, panoramic. And basically, if you're up on the top, you stand up on the hill of Munhall and look down, you would have Sandcastle on your left. The Homestead High Level Bridge, Gray's Bridge, was not built, and it goes all the way down to the Rankin Bridge. And I said, okay, this is it. I'm going to paint the entire thing. But I figured it out. It would be 33 feet high, 32 feet long. I says, I'm almost 61. I says, I'm not building a 3 foot by 32 foot canvas. First of all, I could, but why would I? What would I do with it? Right. I couldn't even get out of my studio. Okay, but I thought about it for a week. I says, I'm stuck on this image. I just love it because it just speaks of that time in America and Pittsburgh. So I said, okay. I scaled it out. 8 canvases, each 3 by 4. Perfect. Okay, you transport them. You hang them on a wall. We need roughly a 40-foot wall, and they'll run together, but you want to separate them, maybe like a foot apart. And then that was my aha moment. That. And I thought that I can do this. So that's where I'm at now. I started this about a year ago. This is my pet free time project.
Okay. So now with the canvas like this, you're starting with the plain white canvas.
Yes, primed. Primed.
Primed. And then from there, then you do the sketch work?
Yeah, I do minimal sketch because it takes me too long to sketch, but because I'm painting it, I'm going to cover it up. But I had to get my perspective. And so whatever talents are there, I got my perspective. It's all laid out.
Okay.
And I just, actually on this one, it's such a different challenge in the art world or my world. I got to do black-ins almost like a coloring book to see the visuals. So this helps me because nothing like this exists anymore. Then the next phase was starting the color palette.
Okay. And how do you pick the colors?
Tough. In my jonosart.com, I'm known for color. Life is colorful. I think I have most of the colors ongoing. So, I knew there was going to be some color, but not colorful because it was a smoky, dirty time back then. So how do I make this work? And so another huge challenge, but that's okay. You weave it through and you think about it, you dream about it, and it comes to you. So I just got some bunch of cans here, about 20 of them, and I like this palette. So I started going around, and I ended up coming up with this.
Okay.
This is what I'm very happy with. So this is one of 8 canvases. and there'll be some more smoke added. But I really love these tones, and because I wanted to make it a time it was, but I want to add a little color.
So you started at the top and worked your way down with the colors, or you all over the place until it all comes together?
I started at the top. I painted the skies upside down because there's 8 canvases. I laid it out in my parking lot.
Okay.
And I just painted upside down because I just wanted to. I don't know. I'm training myself to paint upside down because they say that helps you in the art world, and it does. So I wanted to get the color scheme on the mountains over there by Squirrel Hill. Okay. And once I had the canvas, the skies done, then I thought, okay, I'll work on this, and that's how it came to me.
Okay.
And also, I always use sand from Monongahela. My signature sand and enamel paints on canvas. That's what I've done for decades. But I also got sand from the mill site. So how cool is that?
I was going to ask you if you got any of it.
Monongahela sand and sand from the mill site. So that's more of an organic telling of the story, and it's so cool. And it really speaks to me, folks.
So beginning to end, you're probably going to have 2 years into this project?
As far as the actual, the research, thinking about it for 5 years, but actually 2 years ago, okay, I'm doing this. Okay, and what am I going to do? I don't know. Then last year, it was full speed. I know exactly what I'm doing. Then
But you said this is just in your spare time.
Spare free time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many hours a week do you think you're actually spending on this, where you're actually working on it?
It could be anywhere from 20 to 2 hours.
Okay.
Because I'm
on any given week.
On any given week, I'm a self-employed artist, and there's commissions and things coming in, and you're always part of the art business. Okay, so it's anytime I have a chance now. But I'm beyond the halfway point now with this.
Okay.
And when it's done, it's done. And then also I'm going to have it all shot by my photographer, and I'm going to have metal prints available.
Okay.
And there'll be 3 sizes: small, medium, and large. So people can order
individual or the entire set?
Small, medium, and large. And nobody is paying me for this. I'm not sure what home it's going to go to, but I think it'll find the right home down the road. So
it's just out of the love, your family heritage,
Pittsburgh,
and the passion for Pittsburgh and
right.
everything else.
I feel it's going to take
a
life of its own.
We'll see where it leads from there.
And I've never painted anything like this, but it's okay. It's one of those things that it's been speaking to me.
But it still has your signature style.
I think they know it's a Jono.
And colors. Right. You see it, you know it's a Jono Prasic.
Right. Different versions.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
And I've had a gentleman, more than a few people come in here, and the gentleman, he's a steel mill collector from Art Around the World. He wanted to buy this right now, and I said, "No, sir, but thank you very much." He thought that was it. He didn't know I was doing the other thing, so he was thinking about buying it.
Just the one.
That's not even an issue right now. But I said, when it's done, I'll let you know.
So can we see a little bit of actually how you're painting it?
Sure, absolutely. Hi, folks. This is my signature, always Monongahela sand, but it's also with the old mill site sand, so it's a mixture. Look at that pebbly and ground, and I just feel it feels so organic, and it's gonna be part of this painting. Striper brush. That was a fan brush. This is a striper. Let's see. I like this coming up here on the culmination. This is a little overhang from the old mill. And what's really cool, I mean, there's so many buildings here. This is canvas number 3 out of 8. And this is all pretty industrial. There are some homes here. Look at the homes that were right down in some of these outbuildings right next to the mill. It's so cool. And this here is the beginning of the railroad going through here, the railroad cars. So there's probably other ones, but this is what you'll see. Up here, across the river, would be Squirrel Hill and 9 Mile Run, and what's Somerset on the Frick up there. So that would be part of that mountain up there. I will add some more smoke here, and you thin this down. This one, what do we have here? I'm going to go back into this, but what I'm going to do, I'm not sure how I want to do the smokes at this point, because I want my color palette is evolved. And so when I get done with this, I'll probably leave the smoke off, because then I'll sit back and look at all 8 together. and I'm going to add smoke, but I want to be some of it transparent, and I don't want to hide all the work I'm putting in here. So it's a process as you go. But look at this here, guys. It's just up front and center. It just speaks to me, and it's very time consuming, but I don't count the time. It's a labor of love, and I'm telling the story. Maybe not good in words, but I'm able to do it in paint, however the best I can. And I feel when I'm doing it, I'm in my happy place. I try to be a happy person, but this is my therapy, my zone. I feel my grandfather's spirit speaking to me, but even the ladies I remember as a kid, they would make pierogies at the churches. Other people have passed. They have stories. People are telling me stories about this. I just love it. It just jumps out at me.
So what are some of your thoughts now that you see it? Now that you see a finished piece, I know I have my thought. I mean, I'm blown away by it. I have to say, John, when I first saw it, when I first had the idea, you told me about the idea, and you had us come over, and you had a little bit done, and we've checked back with you now over the 18 months, and in the beginning, it's like, wow, this is a lot of work. Not sure, I'm not as artistic in my mind as you, but the more I saw, and then when you shared the glimpse of it done, I was speechless. Well, I mean, I really,
thank you, Andy.
And I talk a lot,
I know
so it's hard for me to be speechless. But
wow, I did as an artist, I did my job.
You did. I am just totally. I've never ever seen anything quite like this.
I got goosebumps. Thank you, Andy. I'm just seeing this, folks, together for the second time, because I'm working on these canvases. It was so tight and so concentrated and so focused. Now I can get back and go, I take it in. I says, did I do that? No, yeah, I did that, but wow. And I'm so glad I stuck with it. There was times, it was obviously, it's a journey. It was a journey. It was a wonderful journey. Not almost quit, but I had to step back. I said, no, I'm not going to let this beat me. I think there was things, I says, what am I getting into? Why am I doing this? Nobody's commissioned me. But I need to do this for my, something inside of me, my heart, my inner self said, you got to do this just for yourself, and we'll see how it goes. And it screams Pittsburgh.
It does.
One word, I think, 2 words, it's Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So is there one section that you enjoyed painting more than the rest out of the 8 pieces?
I love them all. They were all a challenge. I think what's really cool is the houses were right there by the mill.
Right.
And, people, whatever lives they came from overseas or whatever, they were escaping, making themselves a better life. But they ended up, the ones that lived here or worked here, right there with all the smoke and grime and grit, and they were making a better life for themselves and their future generations. So the house is right there. That's the way it was.
Even just the bridges, the rivers, the sky, the smokestacks, the train. It's breathtaking to me.
You're too kind with
the detail. The detail that went into this.
And this was a big test for me. I've painted over the years. I start out painting small things, and I paint bigs, and you go back and forth. I paint loose. Again, it's a journey as an artist. So this I had to really.
It's pretty big, huh?
It's huge. One of my friends coined this my opus. I don't know if I'm ready to leave it, and I like that.
Jono, I like our view here of your outside studio, but can you tell me a little bit more of how you see the shapes that you see? I mean, I know every artist has their own skill, their own thought process of what they see and how they paint it, but where do you get your, not so much even your ideas, but how you see what you put on that piece of canvas? I mean, I know it's a hard question, but where do you come up with, how do you see the shapes, the designs and so forth of what you actually paint with?
Well, on this particular project, the Carnegie Steel Homestead Works, I had a great photograph, but that was just something to give me to go by.
Right.
The rest is, okay, that was a photograph. So what I did, I just draw. I do very little drawing. I can draw, but when I do very little drawing on my canvases because I'm going to be painting over it, so I don't want to waste a lot of my time drawing when it's be covered with paint. So what I do, I work with the painting. So I get my perspective. Again, this is not an abstract. So this is an actual thing that existed. So what I did years ago, I remember reading out of a book, if you paint upside down, it's a good way to train an artist. Artists, I'm not saying they all do, but I thought, you know what, I did that, and I was painting a face. I'm just learning how to paint, and it gave me a better perspective. So on these canvases, I painted half of them upside down.
Upside down?
Yeah. Then I reversed them, and I just, I I got in my zone.
It's just the way that you see
it, yeah.
it's the way you see it and feel it.
And at this time, I'm still able to look at perspective on these because there's a lot going on there, and I wanted to be really accurate on the buildings. And there's artistic license there, so I have the eye where I can see, that corner. Again, it looks a little different, and I just want to hone it in. So it's just something that's in me, a little gift I have. I don't know if it's a huge gift, but I was trying to capture the way it was back in that point in time here in Pittsburgh.
You did.
Thank you very much.
You did, absolutely, you did. You told me that you felt that this was your opus.
I like that. A friend of mine coined that phrase. That opus is a big body of work, artistic usually, and why not? I've never done anything like this. And also connecting 8 canvases together and making them look like it's one painting was a huge challenge right there, technically.
Right.
So,
well, the skill of doing this, the technique, your thoughts and so forth on.
Okay. Well,
can you get into a little detail?
Sure.
With that on.
Right. Well, I use.
How do you paint this?
I start out with enamel paints. Actually, these paints, guys, are all Glidden by PPG. And the reason why I use it, I like drippy paints. Paint has changed over the years. I like my paints drippy. Then I always use Monongahela sand in my paintings because that's what I do.
Yeah.
So the technique, it's just me. Now, what I did, see the skies? This was such a big project. And I'm doing it in my studio on one table. So in my studio parking lot, I laid the canvases flat out there on tarps. This is 18 months ago. And I painted the skies upside down.
Wow.
Because I was walking, because I didn't know how else to connect the skies. Because there's a suggestion of mountains or whatever you want. That's on the other side of the river. So, and then the color scheme, this was a struggle. I'm known, whatever in the art circles, I'm known for my color, which is really cool, but I didn't want this to be an overtop Jono color because back then I'm trying to tell the story in my view in paint and sand. It was a gritty, dark time, but also how do I do that? So the color scheme, the palette really screamed to me. In a sense, you could tell it's Jono, but it's not the whatever I'm known for, the other colors. So I painted I connected upside down. It was one morning, real early, in a busy intersection up in the South Side Slopes, people honking going by, but that's okay. So, that was, I'm on my way. So then I go in, what I did, I started on number 2. These canvases go from left to right, 1 through 8. Okay. So I started on number 2 because I wanted to jump into the industrial, this one here with the pipes in the houses, because this is again, I'm learning as I go. I've never did anything like this. So in my table, I laid it down and just started that, and then I just started from 2 to 7. So I left the 2 end caps off because there was more of a challenges because of see how it fades back with the houses and the bridges. So if I thought in myself, if I can get 2 through number 7 canvas done, I could finish this. That was mine. I didn't want to start from. Usually, I start left to right.
Right.
And I thought, well, I can do whatever I want. I have artistic license, so that made me feel. So that was the journey, the challenge as I go. How do I do this? So upside down, flat with the sky, and I still added more color. Then from left to right, number 2, and then just looking back. A lot of time looking back, not even painting. Then I would clamp them together, each canvas, because my studio is not that big. It cannot hold this in one line. So I'm only working on one piece at a time, but I kept zeroing in. I kept feeling spirits. It was a wonderful thing. The grandfather I never met, I felt his spirit, but I felt the spirits of the other workers, and I felt the spirits of the town people, the people who owned the taverns, the bakeries, the typical regular workers there. And I had a dream about the noodle lady. My dad knew a noodle lady. You buy noodles off her, and because that was all tied into that era.
Right.
And it was a wonderful journey. So that when I was getting stuck, or maybe stuck in neutral, I thought these wonderful good thoughts and entities, maybe they came to me, and they definitely helped me go, because I said.
Now, once you put all these together outside your studio, did you look at it and say, "Oh, I got to go change this or do this or touch this up"? Or
absolutely, because I was doing one canvas at a time.
Okay.
And then that each canvas had to be the sum of the parts.
Right.
So but again, I wanted to keep the secret. I'm on a busy intersection. So
well, that was my next question. I mean, you're very visible, so you put this outside.
There's 30,000 cars go by my studio there at the intersection. So I was able to I took 4 canvases out at a time.
Okay.
And I leaned them against my building, and I can control that because people have cell phones. And if somebody would take a snap, I wasn't worried, but I just needed to focus. So I was able to do that. I says, you know what? there are things I got to. It's not done yet.
Right.
So what I did, I brought it home to our home, and I worked in a private studio here, and I needed to focus even more. So I laid it down flat. We had it up, and so that gave me the perspective. There were some changes I made it, but I signed my name to each canvas. Each one's numbered, and
Is there one canvas that is your favorite?
I like them all.
Yeah.
I like them all.
I would expect that,
I like
but I
them
didn't
all.
know whether there was one piece that jumped out at you. Like you
Yeah.
said, you started on number 2. Was that
That was for the
significant for you, or
that was the starting point. I guess the mechanics of painting it. I wanted to go there, and then as you go, look. If you look towards the middle, right there. I mean, there's a lot going on there.
Yep.
And guys, I usually use big brushes. I only use 3 brushes: a striper and 2 fan brushes, and they're not that big. I'm used to painting. I can paint with my hands and all this, but this was so
same
tight.
3 brushes for
Same.
18 months?
I went through a couple of them, but I had them all.
You wore them out, huh?
Yeah, but generally 3 brushes, and they're small, and that was really. But I had to do that, and again, it spoke to me. Okay, this is what I got to do for this project.
Okay, we're here now for the grand unveiling of this amazing artwork from John O'Prasek, but we're here with Bill Haberther, as you know, from the Schoolhouse Art and History Center. Connect the dots for us, Bill. Why are we going to do an unveiling here?
Well, Andy, first of all, good morning. It's nice to see you again. This is a tremendous opportunity for us to really not only showcase the Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, but it really comes under our purview as being a building for not only the history, the repository for the history of the community, but also for the arts. So to have this unveiling for the first time, the world view of this painting is really an incredible opportunity for us. So we're really grateful that we were able to have Jono come in and host this event. We're actually standing in a room that literally we just finished trimming out 2 days ago. We had the floor done. Now all we have left to do is to paint it. This originally was 2 classrooms, but we decided to leave it as 1 classroom just so we can do things like this, because where else are you going to be able to put it?
If you didn't, we wouldn't be here.
Right, it's a 32-foot painting, and the room is 41 feet long. So it was the stars really lined up on this.
Well, the building itself has come along so beautifully from when you started renovating this building to where it is now. And it's if you haven't been here yet, people, you really need to stop by and give the location of where this building is.
We're at 2600 South Park Road in Bethel Park. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, the building isn't as open as often as it used to be. But you can certainly contact us through our Facebook page at Bethel Park Historical Society, or our email at historicalsocietybp@gmail.com, and we can arrange for private tours. We have a couple of school kids coming in the next week that wanted to learn a little bit more about the history of the community.
And when was the building built?
It was built in 2 phases, in 1905 and 1917. We're standing in the 1917 section. And do you know, Andy, this month is our 4th anniversary that when we kicked off our $1 Million Capital Campaign. And we're almost to that point. But with an old building, it always takes a lot of money to keep it going. But we were so fortunate that we just received from Natalie Mihalik, our U.S. State Representative, another $170,000 grant, which will go toward heating and air conditioning on the 2nd floor.
Another step forward.
It is. It's
With
incredible.
the name of the building being the Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, the arts itself like this with John O'Prasek, this is something that you're planning on doing in the future?
Oh, absolutely. We had a couple other exhibits on a smaller scale. So this is, our next step in that event. We do have a local art group that comes in a couple of times a week for painting classes. John Del Monte, who's going to be 97 this month, he's a local artist, well known. He actually has a studio on this floor. So once we get through this pandemic and the building is up and running again, we'll be able to host a lot more of these events. And as you and I know, we worked very hard on trying to do an arts festival this past fall, and it literally was, I think, a couple of weeks beforehand that we pulled the trigger and had to cancel it.
That doesn't mean we're not going to do one this year. So
No.
Labor of Love Arts Festival over Labor Day is the plan on doing yearly annual arts festivals with all the local talents from
Yep.
all over Pittsburgh.
And we really had a great outpouring and an interest in doing that. So we're excited about what the future is going to hold, not only for the building, but for local artists.
Okay, well, let's take a look at this painting.
Oh, okay, great. Shall we unveil it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jono, that has to be pretty exciting. Tell me what you're feeling now that you see it professionally displayed and you're showing it for the first time.
Big set of goosebumps.
Okay.
Over the top. This is the first time outside of my studio or my driveway, it's eye level, and where it's at here at the Bethel Park Historical Society Schoolhouse. It's emotional, but a good emotional, not a crying emotional. It's just I'm feeling all the good things that we see and talk about in life, and also right now, wow.
Well, it's a lot of years from beginning to end.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, but
It's been a journey. It's been a wonderful journey, a soulful.
was it worth the journey?
Absolutely. Here's the end
Okay.
result. Now, what's so cool? This paintings is going to take on a life of its own. So, and it's,
Explain that. What do you mean?
Well, okay. I sign my name. To me, when it leaves my studio door, it's going to go out in the world. Okay?
Right.
It's going to go on tour, but also when other people see it, it's what I understand. What I'm getting in the short time people have seen this, which is very few. They're telling me stories about loved ones or family members that either worked in the mill or worked in the areas, and it didn't have to be this particular mill. So I think that is so cool. That's taking on another life. People are going to talk about this, and I didn't really think about that when I was painting it. I just was doing my own journey, and I see this taking on a new life, and it's going to explode. I really believe that with people's stories.
Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh because of the rivers and the mills.
Yes.
So having, the people, the past employees and so forth of it, you got over 100 years of people working in the mills. There has to be a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings, a lot of everything from people that are actually going to see it and have good memories, bad memories. They're going to have memories of what it was like growing up in a steel town.
Right. It's amazing. A piece of art can pull out these stories from folks,
Right.
whether you're asking them or not. And I think that is so wonderful. And I have my own stories, and there's other stories that are come down the pike that I might not even know of. I'm going to learn, and it might tie into my family or not my family. I don't know. It's just wonderful.
Well, I mean, that has to be the ultimate compliment to an artist, to have somebody have an emotional tie or feeling or pull towards one of your pieces.
Absolutely.
Thank you for watching this amazing story, the life of this artwork, the 18 months or so of going out and filming from beginning to end, Jono's idea of this, bringing this painting to life. And don't forget to watch Jono, watch his Facebook, and see where this is going to go, see where this is going to lead, see when you are going to be able to come and see this in person. But we appreciate you watching BPTV. I'm your host, Andy Amrine, and this was another Around Town.